Hello, welcome to another Canadian Comic Geeks Weekly Comic Reviews. Now, if you're all wondering why you're seeing another audio video on YouTube instead of seeing my handsome features, it's because it wasn't just Push Play that was really busy. It was me. I had a really busy week. Now, let's move on that and go straight to comics. And there were a lot of comics. Let's start off with these four, you can easily jump onto. Well, most of them anyway. Let's start off in the little corner known as the Superior Spider-Man, issue 14. Now, for those of you who have not been who've not been into this series or haven't known or heard about this for a few months, it's basically Doc Ock. His brain is in Peter Parker's body, so now he is Spider-Man, and basically as Spider-Man, he's not doing a bad job so far. Well, he's been really he's been mostly violent, and there are a lot of things that Peter Parker would never do. But he's thinking smart whenever he goes and saves the day, like making sure civilians aren't in the crossfire and whatnot. Anyway, starting here, like in this issue, you see him really go with a dramatic change, a new costume, which is not bad, in all honesty. I think you see Doc Ock feature, especially with his with the eyes and the four spider legs coming out of his back. Well, you see that in the comic anyway, and that but basically he puts all of his resources to use. Mostly that he has an island which he calls Spire Island 2, which I think is in poor taste. No, but like he now has these giant robot spider mechs called Arachnonauts and these henchmen. And yes, Spider-Man with henchmen. Wrap your head around that. That he likes to call Spiderlings. Kind of like sounding like underlings. Very clever, but it's just really silly. Now, in this one, he, like as I said, uses resources to basically go to Hell's Kitchen and take down the Kingpin. And my God, for like a one shot, it is glorious. The art is fantastic, and I love how Kingpin has backup plans for his backup plans, and that Hobgoblin. Yeah, Hobgoblin still works for Kingpin. Is basically now on the run, trying to get away. Although he's kind of wondering why. No, you know what? If I say any more, it'll be spoilers. Although I will give this one little hint, is that basically by the end of this issue, evil wins, and I don't mean that going like because this is Doc Ock. I literally mean like out of all the saving the day, he did not intentionally basically served New York City on a platter to one of the villains who's been basically making his own underground criminal kingdom. And honestly, I have to say yes, buy this issue. I enjoyed it. It's basically like Doc Ock Spidey doing it in his own way in his new costume and whatnot. Okay, let's move on to the next Superior Spider-Man comic, Superior Spider-Man Team Up Issue 1. And you can easily step into this, although I kind of recommend reading Superior Spider-Man Issue 14 just to get a little bit of that of the story, because they mentioned that a little bit in the comic. Anyway, his team up. But you notice, like basically on the internet, say he teams up with everyone. No, but actually he just teams up with the Avengers. Although it seems kind of silly because he's part of the Avengers. Anyway, I actually did enjoy this team up. Because one, it's like okay, we with the standards. Like you see Spider-Man, you see the other guys teaming up, but they first duke it out, and then they actually team up, find the one foe. But basically, the Avengers didn't exactly think there's something must be wrong with Spidey. But now it's like after this whole skirmish, this bunch says we now trust you, Spidey, and sorry we were dicks to you. Which basically Doc Ock goes yes, everything's going according to plan. They actually have my trust now. But now they basically from all this entire team up is basically now he has the ideas of making, and spoiler, he thinks of making his own team. Who's gonna be on that team? Well, keep reading, cause you're gonna be interested of who he wants to pick, who he wants on his own superior team. Also, for the fact that his plan was getting all the heroes to trust, getting all of his friends and allies to trust him. Yes, getting all the superheroes in New York to trust him by beating the tar out of them. Good job, Spidey. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't trust you before. No, I can't. It's actually a good read, and it has had some of my favorite Avengers like Hyperion. I can go all day with him, but no, still good read. If you could find it in stores, I recommend picking it up. You'll be entertained. And now let's move on to another universe, starting with this issue, Hunger, and basically it's like a spin-off to Age of Ultron, where it's basically Galactus and the Ultimate Marvel universe. Ah, man. Still, this is a good read because pretty much it's like this issue to pretty much establish who the characters are. It's basically in the Ultimate Universe. There's Rick Jones, and that universe he's called Nova. No, not the Nova from the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. He's basically just a glowing. He's just a guy who's like a walking light bulb. Well, he glows a lot, but he travels to space and whatnot. And you get to see the Kree and the T'Chari. And yeah, and just to clarify for those who actually seen the Avengers film and wondering why I'm mentioning Chitauri instead of Skrulls, little known fact, in the Ultimate Universe, Chitauri were Ultimate Marvel's version of Skrulls, which is a little odd when you actually think about that. But anyway, like how Galactus gets there, there's a tear there's a tear in the universe, and that's how Galactus enters in. And if you haven't seen the previews, that's basically how he comes in. And my own little joke to this, the Doctor from Doctor Who almost had himself erased from existence, fixing those tears in space and time. And man, Wolverine, you just ruin everything with your own time traveling shenanigans. No, but that's from Age of Ultron, and they're talking about like Hunger. And the ending of this, I shouldn't spoil because Galactus does meet his Ultimate's version of himself, which look like robots from the Matrix, but without the arms. Anyway, and for those of you who've seen Dragon Ball Z, Digimon, or read Almagam comics, you'll see what I mean by the ending. And for those who got that reference, congrats, I spoiled the ending for you. For those who don't get what I'm talking about, if you do read this, you'll see why. Anyway, we've seen what's going on in the Ultimate Marvel and Ultimate Marvel in space. Let's go back to Earth. Let's see, for the X-Men in the Ultimate X-Men issue 29, in the first issue of the newest, starting into the newest story arc, World War X. Man, I really hope there's not gonna be a sequel called World War X 2. It's gonna be really weird. But no, anyway, it's pretty much picks up after where Human Resources left off, where basically the mutants actually fought for for freedom and land from the U.S. government, and basically the mutants who now live in their own little piece in America called Utopia. Yeah, for X-Men fans who get that, that's like for X-Men fans they'd be pleased. For non-X-Men fans, that's a weird name to call a small country in the U.S. No, but it's like they're actually doing quite fine, which is an amazing part. Like, good news for those of you who read Ultimate X-Men and basically were a fan of some characters. Good news, Colossus is back. Yes, he's one of the best Ultimate X-Men characters I've seen in that series. Finally comes back, and basically everything's fine except war in another mutant nation known as Tien starts trying to start a war with our main cast led by Kitty Pryde. Yeah, for those of you who haven't, like, basically this is from after Ultimatum, so basically, and this is from my own perspective, you can disagree if you want, that basically Kitty Pryde is the new Xavier of Ultimate Comics X-Men. I know that sounds weird, and I think, okay, if she's the Xavier, who's Magneto? And for the longest time, I thought it was this character known as Mach 2, who has like these two different kinds of powers, and one of them is basically she can control anything that's metal, and also that basically she's been going on how we shouldn't have stopped fighting humans and whatnot. That's why I thought it was going to be the new Magneto, but apparently I was wrong, horribly, horribly wrong. The new Magneto isn't Mach 2, it's Jean Grey. Yeah, Jean Grey as Magneto. Oh man, that is something that makes you want to go, what? What's going on here? No, it's just Jean Grey is like now lives in Tien. I think I have not heard from the rulers who are called Zorn. Yeah, Zorn with an X, and the other one's called Zorn with a Z. It's weird. I have not heard from him for a long time, so it looks like Jean Grey's in charge. And since from the last story arc, she got like everyone knew who she was now, and there's like, no, we will not abandon our home and join you guys. No, she is pissed and basically is going like all out war with Kitty Pryde and the X-Men who live in Utopia. Hence why it's called World War X. Still, this is the start of one hell of a story arc where it's mutants versus mutants, which you don't like as two countries duke it out, and basically, like I had a fun read. Well, not because I'm an X-Men fan, but this is a good starting point where you can find out who the characters are and what's going on. And for those who like action stuff or into basically characters fighting huge epic scales, this is like an issue for you. So I suggest to pick it up. Well, that is all the time and all the comics you can usually start off with that I have here at the moment. So thank you all again for listening. I will once again have a video where you get like an actual video sometime next week or the week after. Other than that, thank you all for listening, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.